Can Doge get a pop from here and start moving up? That is a question we're going to try to answer right now. I am looking at the daily chart for Doge, and this video is going to be shorter than some of my others just because we've been stagnant in price, and there's not a ton to talk about as far as Bitcoin, Doge, and the other cryptocurrencies. You can see that this is the daily chart, as I mentioned, that over the last 72 hours, we have suffered some losses in Doge. Doge is not the only one, of course. We've seen that drawdown in many of the altcoins. And right now, we've got kind of a mixed bag. If you look over here to the right, we've got a few green and a few red. That's different than it was over the last couple of days, where basically most altcoins were red. And what I see right now on Doge is kind of an indecision candle right here. So far today, it's this candle right here. It is a doji candle. Well, basically you are opening and closing roughly at the same spot. Of course, we're not close to closing yet. We've still got about 7 hours in this candle here, but I'm just talking about how it's positioned right now with wicks to the bottom, wicks to the top. We've got an inside day, which is meaning the high is less than the high of the previous day, and the low is greater than the low of the previous day. That's another indication of indecision. So right now, we're all basically waiting for Bitcoin to figure out what in the world it's going to do as it sits around this 51,000 to 52,000 level, and we will talk about that shortly. For those of you that are new, let me go over some of the key levels we are watching with Doge. This gray area from about 0.086 to roughly 0.089, and you could go ahead and round that up to 0.09. That encompasses is the better word, a bunch of movement right here back in November of 23, where the market reacted against that level, tested the level a couple of times here in December before breaking through, and then immediately came back down the next day and tested this gray level. It went on, Doge did, to higher highs above 0.1 back in December, and then it started, as it slid down, tested this gray level a couple, 3 or 4 times before actually breaking through it, went back up and tested it, broke through it. And now over the last week, we've really tested this gray level several times. And there was one day back here on Monday where we had a nice green candle that broke through solidly this gray level, closed almost above 0.09, which is a very, round number that we're watching in Doge. And I'm not saying I thought we would blast off, but there was definitely the potential to blast off at that point because, other altcoins had. Doge had finally broken through its level and we were sitting nice and pretty. But like I said, over the past 72 hours, we have struggled in Doge, and that's mainly because of Bitcoin. Again, we'll get to that in a second. But I want to talk about this blue line right here. Do you see the blue line? Yeah, let me go back to the daily. This is the blue line. We're sitting right below it right now. This blue line actually goes back all the way to November of 2022. So about, goodness, 16, 17, 18 months now. It is the definition of a downtrend. These blue lines are indicating a long-term downtrend in Doge with lower lows and lower highs. You can see it hitting the wicks right here, carrying on through, and an equivalent bottom for this range, hitting the wicks and carrying on through. And that, like I said, has been a downtrend in Doge for some time. The good news is, zoomed out, you can see that we have broken through this downtrend, and we did back in December when we reached this high of 0.1. Over January, we closed back into it, broke out of it briefly on some Twitter rumors, and closed back into it. No, that was just a matter of 48 hours we broke out and closed. And we are right now wrestling with breaking out of this zone. Now, if you take a step back and look at the price action over the last week or two, you can see we have kind of a bundling of price consolidation, but it's at the top part of this range, or excuse me, the top part of this blue line. It is that we are challenging almost every day this gray area, if I zoom in a little bit more. So everything is looking good for if the winds favor Doge and Bitcoin and crypto in the near future, we are going to break above these levels and continue on higher. That's if the winds favor us, and of course we want the winds to favor us, but there's really nothing technically standing in the way of Doge taking off. It looks good. It's at the upper part of these ranges that it's been in for a year and a half. It's challenging levels above, not levels below. So we just need to get some more movement by either Doge on its own, like some other coins have done, or get Bitcoin moving back up higher for Doge to be pulled. So these are the key levels, as I've already mentioned. Let's talk about Bitcoin because Bitcoin is what controls the crypto market. Bitcoin, as I have mentioned, is wrestling with, this 52,000 level. And it has been for about the last week now. You can see we're really not moving anywhere, just kind of bouncing around. We did make a newer high, about 2 days ago, touching 53,000, but it was quickly rejected and pushed on down. So what is coming up in Bitcoin next is what's going to push the attitudes of these altcoins, including Doge. And that's the reason I say if we can get the winds moving in our favor, that is Bitcoin creeping on upward, then Doge will follow. There is some risk, and it's not a small risk, that we could break below this 50,000 level here in Bitcoin. I've got this level here again in gray from about 50,300 to 50,600, which is at the bottom of these 2 wicks here and at the top of these 2 wicks last week. And so it's kind of a range that we're dealing with, that if Bitcoin breaks below and carries on down below 50,000 and tests this 48,000 area, if that happens, of course, Doge, I don't think, is going to break these resistant areas at that point. It's going to creep on down, drift on down a little further, and we'll have to be patient for the next run up of Bitcoin. Okay. And when I say run up of Bitcoin, I'm not talking like we have to wait for it to get to 65,000. I'm just saying we need to wait for it to get some more green days for Doge to carry on. Now, I have been kind of confused at this point which way Bitcoin is going to go. And so I have been listening and watching those smarter than me. One such guy is this guy. He is Lark Davis, who I follow on Twitter. He's got about 1.1 million followers. So he is somebody in the crypto world. And I wanted to get an idea of what he was saying as far as which way he thought Bitcoin was going to go. So one of his most previous videos that he posted, I'm trying to find it. Where did it go? I listened to it, and basically he said, I don't know which way Bitcoin is going to go, neither does anyone else. So that made me feel better. It made me understand I'm not missing the obvious. I wish I could find that doggone video. I just had it. Maybe this is it.
Coin since the 14th of February, so a week ago, has basically been moving sideways, a little bit up, a little bit.
This is where he's talking about Bitcoin is moving sideways. There's little volatility, which does generally mean there will be volatility coming up, but he doesn't know whether we're going up or down, and he says neither does anybody else. So I'm going to stand on that. That makes me feel better. I'm not missing the obvious. I didn't think I was. Bitcoin could literally go up or down, and there's reasons for both. So we just need to watch. We need to wait. I don't have a bunch of insight other than to give you the levels that Doge is wrestling with right now. And we've got to wait on Bitcoin to find out if Doge can pull, or Bitcoin can pull some of these coins up. I would like, doggone it, for Bitcoin to go ahead and move up. For one reason is I don't need Doge to drift on down. Doge is a mature coin. It's a top market cap coin. It is not going to move quickly. In the term of crypto age, Doge is mature. And I'm not saying that to put it down. I'm just saying like VET, like ADA, like Ethereum, like DOT, like Matic. These coins are mature and have been out for a while. They've got large market caps. It takes a lot of money to move these guys. In the crypto world, they're almost dinosaurs. They've been around since 2020. So we're going to have to, my point is I don't need Doge to just continually drift down, because it's going to take longer for it to recover and get back up to this 0.09 level that I'm waiting for it to retest. So all in all, I'd like Bitcoin to go ahead and take off so we can give Doge another chance of going higher. But there's nothing we can do but wait. If you are a believer in Doge or any coin that you own right now, we are setting up for some great times in the crypto market. You're just going to have to wait and be patient. We have to weather these sideways moves and the downward moves so that we can benefit when our coins take off. All right, that is the update on Doge. Be sure to come back. I will try to keep you updated.